Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nida Maulida. I am from class B 2023, and today I would like to present about my research entitled Factor Causing Foreign Language Anxiety or FLA in Learning English Speaking Among 8th Grade Junior High School Students. Next, for the background of the study, in the context of English as a Foreign Language or EFL, students are required to develop four essential language skills. And according to Brown 2001 and Harmer 2007, language learning in the EFL context requires two students to master four essential skills: listening, speaking, reading, and writing, in order to achieve communicative competence. However, among these skills, speaking is often considered the most challenging. According to UR 1996 and Thornberry 2005 argue that speaking requires learners to produce language in real time, integrate multiple linguistic components, and interact directly with others, which make it more complex compared to other skills. Next, for the research gap, previous studies focus on general foreign language anxiety rather than speaking as a complex skill with limited exploring students' real experiences in speaking activities. So, many studies are conducted at the university level, making them less representative of junior high school students in Indonesian EFL classroom, and there is still limited qualitative research exploring student real experiences in speaking activities. Next, for the urgency, foreign language anxiety affects students' speaking performance, yet its causes and coping strategies are still not fully understood, and therefore this research is needed to support more effective English teaching. And for the research question, number 1, what factor cause foreign language anxiety in learning English speaking among 8th grade students, and how does foreign language anxiety influence students' speaking performance? And for the theoretical framework, according to Horowitz et al. 1986, anxiety in language learning consists of communication apprehension, fear of negative evaluation, and test anxiety. So, according to Horowitz et al. 1986, define FLA as a emotion of stress, anxiety, and anxiety that are particularly connected to language acquisition in educational setting. And this idea emphasizes the tight connection between anxiety and the process of learning and using language. And this theory supports the first research question, which focus on identifying the factors that cause FLA among 8th grade students. And for the research objective, number 1 is to identify the factor that cause foreign language anxiety. And number 2, how does foreign language anxiety influence student speaking performance? Next, for the literature review, according to Rahmadani et al. 2022, the student often feel anxious due to lack of confidence, fear of making mistake, and fear of being judged negatively by teacher or peers. And according to Ajiza et al. 2024, such as lack of confidence, fear of making mistake, and external factor, including classroom environment and fear of negative evaluation. And similarly, Nuralika et al. 2023, student anxiety in speaking is strongly related to their participation in classroom activities. Students with higher anxiety levels are less likely to engage actively in speaking tasks. And for the research methodology, this study employs a case study design with a qualitative methodology, and this method is designed to investigate how students perceive and experience anxiety related to learning a foreign language when speaking English in class. And for the participants, 4 to 6 8th grade students. Participants in this study were 8th grade students at the junior high school in Samarinda. A purposive sampling technique was used to select approximately 4 to 6 students who met certain criteria relevant to this research objective. And for the criteria, they were currently in 8th grade, had experience learning to speak English in the classroom, and reported experiencing anxiety when speaking English. And those who were able to express their thoughts and experiences clearly during the interview process. And for the data collection method, this study used to collect data in study, namely questionnaire and semi-structured interview. For the questionnaire, it's used to gather general data about student level of anxiety, the factor that cause it, and the strategy, and how does foreign language anxiety influence students' speaking performance. Through the questionnaire, the researcher can obtain an overall picture and identify common patterns of foreign language anxiety among students. And for semi-structured interview are conducted to explore more deeply student experience and feeling when speaking English in the classroom. For the data analysis, this data will be examined using thematic analysis. The process of analyzing data will involve several steps. The interview steps will first be typed down. Second, the researcher will review the transcript to identify key statements on student anxiety. Third, after being caught, this comment will be categorized into subject or group. Next, for the finding and discussion, as you can see in this table 2, factor causing foreign language anxiety, there is the raw data or participant response, initial codes and theme. And as shown in table 2, the interview data were coded and grouped into 5 major themes related to foreign language anxiety. The coding process revealed that student anxiety was mainly associated with fear of making mistake, fear of negative evaluation, limited vocabulary, pronunciation difficulties, and lack of confidence. And lack of self-confidence. And these themes became the basis for the thematic analysis present in the following session. The next table is table 3, or influence of FLA on speaking performance. Also, there is raw data or participant response, initial codes and themes. And the classification procedure for the impact of foreign language anxiety on student speaking abilities is displayed in table 3. 4 main themes emerged from the code data: lower self-confidence, avoidance behavior, speaking hesitantly and with disfluency, undiscreet engagement. These themes clarify how student engagement and speaking abilities in class were impacted by fear. In conclusion, this study was to identify the factors that contribute to foreign language anxiety or FLA and look into how this factor impacts student ability to speak in English classroom. The finding indicated that the 5 primary reasons of foreign language anxiety among the participants were limited vocabulary, pronunciation problem, lack of confidence, fear of making mistake, and fear of being adversely judged. Among these factors, fear of making mistake and fear of getting a bad mark were the most frequently mentioned cause of concern. This finding implied that in addition to language challenges, social and psychological problems and relate to classroom interactive have an effect on student anxiety. Furthermore, the findings demonstrate that anxiety related to foreign language had a negative impact on student speaking abilities in several ways. Students who were anxious tended to speak less during speaking activities, avoid English speaking settings, speak hesitantly and fluent, and show less confidence. And this representation reduced students' enthusiasm to communicate and limited their ability to practice speaking English in class. And overall, this study supports previous research by Horowitz et al. 1986 and McLean and Gardner 1991, which argue that students' speaking skill and language learning experiences are significantly impacted by anxiety associated with learning foreign language. Teachers are therefore asked to provide a supportive and non-threatening environment in the classroom so that students feel comfortable making error as an essential common component of learning. And students will feel less anxious and more secure when speaking English if they receive support, constructive criticism, and amply speaking practice. Future research may involve more participants and variety of educational settings in order to gain a more true knowledge of foreign language anxiety among EFL learners. I think that's all from my presentation. Thank you so much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.